Welcome to Free Beer Friday, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Free Beer Friday. I'm your host as always, Ben from the Bearded Monk. On the horn with me right now is Derek Lintern from NOLA Brewing, all the way down in Louisiana. Can we see Derek? Nobody wants to look at my face. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey guys, cheers.
All right, so today I'm drinking a little bit of Revivalist. Yes, so
very nice.
We wanted to hang out and chat. Wait, what are you drinking right now?
I'm doing a little ales for ALS fundraiser we just released last week.
Right on, dude. So you guys are doing fundraising work all over the place.
Yeah,
this is awesome. Okay, we need to get into some of these beers in a minute, but I want these folks to know a little bit more about NOLA and about you. Give everybody the rundown on NOLA Brewing.
Sure. So we've been around for 9 years now. We have 9 year-round beers, but we started shortly after Katrina. We were the first production brewery back in New Orleans after Dixie closed down before Katrina. So we were kind of it was us and Abita basically in Louisiana. And, as much as I like Abita, they're a very, very large brewery. So we were kind of like the new small guy. And, we grew from there. We started with what the Louisiana market wanted, which was a blonde and a brown. Added our Havatulas IPA pretty soon after that, and kind of just grew with the market. I always thought we were really behind the times, and that was kind of the reason I got into home brewing.
What do you mean behind the times?
As far as like the craft beer scene, the rest of the country, the South, I think, has been behind, the West Coast, the East Coast, Colorado, even, Chicago, wherever you go, the South has been behind, and Louisiana in particular, as well as Mississippi and Alabama a little bit as well, have been further behind than, say, Texas or Georgia or Florida, which, have been pretty solid beer scenes. So we were kind of just having, it was hard to get an IPA. I remember 10 years ago, we would get excited when Celebration came out because that was an IPA we could actually get here, and it would sell out like crazy. That was one of the whales back in the day.
Golly, back in the day. Now, are you seeing a changeover though? I mean,
for sure.
With you guys being open for 9 years,
really, really grown in the last few years. So in the past 4 years, I think we've had maybe 10 new breweries in Louisiana, South Louisiana. And the demand and the variety of stuff that we can get that's not here, brewed here as well, is greatly, greatly increased.
Right.
So we've grown with the times too. Like I said, we started with 2 beers. Now we have 9 year-round beers that we're making all the time, along with seasonals, 4 different seasonals that we do. Our Funk series, which is our wild sour barrel-aged beers, which I run. And then our just kind of one-offs, our hop series, our lagniappes, our fun stuff, whatever we're in the mood for, we're able to kind of give people what they want and keep our core steady beers flowing.
Right on. Well, so where did you get started? How did you find yourself at NOLA?
My brewing career was started as a home brewer. I was 18 years old, wide-eyed, and kind of got my first debit card and thought, hey, I can buy all the stuff you need to make beer legally online, and I might as well give this a try. I thought I could hide it from my parents. I got one of those little Mr. Beer kits, which I don't really recommend anymore, but for an 18-year-old, it was great.
It's a great way to start. Come on. You just it's like cooking ramen, right? You just put the packets in and let it go.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it's so much easier to do like a brew in a bag. I mean, you can use actual specialty grains and some hops. It doesn't take any more equipment. Anyway, I tried that. I was 18. I didn't know any better, and I definitely didn't know any better because I didn't realize how much smell it would make when I was hiding in my closet. And my parents definitely found it, and they thought I was pretty adventurous, and I put enough effort into it. They let me actually finish it out, and their one deal was I could only drink it if I stayed in the house, so we could like watch a movie as a family and try and like not very good pale ales.
But they had you there at home, and they could try the fruits of your labors.
Yeah. But the summer I turned 21, I lived out in Boulder, Colorado, and it just blew my mind, the stuff that I could get out there. And I never had an Imperial IPA, I never had a barrel-aged stout. And it was just that I came back to New Orleans, and I was not able to even buy it. And I was like, I have to figure out how to make that stuff. I know how to make beer. I know this is beer. I can do that. And that's kind of where it came. Right. And it got kind of ridiculous. I had a three barrel system in my backyard at one point. But that's luckily now here at the brewery. So it was put to good use.
Nice. So that's your pilot system now? Is that it?
Yes. Yeah, yep.
Oh, man. Okay. So how many parties did you supply in college with a 3-barrel system?
It was great. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I never made all 3 barrels at once, but I did have 4 actual 55-gallon wooden barrels that I was starting doing sour beer.
Nice.
Definitely the first person in Louisiana, I think, brewing sour beer.
Doing your own backyard.
At least on that scale.
That's awesome.
I mean, I still have cases of this stuff. It's pretty good. I don't know.
What?
I just trade it for things. Yeah. So it's like 10 years old at this point.
Yes.
And it's
when you come to town, you've totally got to bring some of that with you. Let's party with that. Dude, that would be awesome. That would be so awesome. Okay.
So, yeah. Then, I figured I had to make money for a little while since I paid for college. So I had a computer science and finance degree and did computer programming for Capital One for about 5 years. And got my stuff together. And there was an opening at the brewery. And I figured, why the hell not? This is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. I'd rather be happy every day than comfortable.
Right on.
Now I'm both.
Happy and a little sweaty. Is that it?
Yeah, but it's better than sitting in the cubicle with a beer belly. So.
Right on. Well, I guess I sit behind a bar with a beer belly, but it's okay.
Right. But you're up and active, and I definitely was getting a beer belly sitting in a chair 8 hours a day.
Fair enough. Well, okay, so you went a little in. We started talking about the beers that you guys have done. Let's hear a little bit more about some of the beers that folks can expect in Texas from y'all. Like, what are some of these that you guys have done?
Sure. So we have our regular stuff we're sending there. We're not sending the blonde and the brown. We're sending more of the kind of exciting stuff. So our kind of, I'd say flagship, I guess, for Texas would be our 7th Street wheat, which is a nice crisp American wheat that we infuse, basically dry hop with 20 pounds of fresh lemon basil. So it's not lemon and basil, it's just a single herb lemon basil, and it gives it a really nice bright basil citrus flavor. And it's perfect for this hot weather. It's a nice sunny day, or as you're at the beach, out on the boat. It's a really nice, easy drinking beer with a little bit of flavor.
Man, it's watching people walk by sweating right outside this window. Yeah, that sounds real nice.
They would love one. You'd make their day if you had one.
Just start handing them. Here you go. Hand it out to folks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Continue on.
But so then we also, the Revivalist, which you got up there, I guess would be our kind of next step up, which is a really nice fresh pale ale that we teamed up with the Revivalist band out of New Orleans, who are good friends of ours. And then it's a fundraiser for Roots of Music, like a lot of the stuff we do. And so it's, kind of in between what we were doing, our traditional West Coast pale ales with a little bit the Northeast kind of style. So there's a little bit of oats. There's not as much bitterness, but it's I don't know, it's our own little take on it. It's not a New England IPA. It's not a West Coast IPA. We're down in the South in the heat. It's something drinkable that you can have all day and still got a lot of flavor and a lot of aroma.
Right on. Yeah, it's really well balanced. Really well balanced. Okay, sorry. Continue. My bad.
No problem. No, I'm trying to think what else we got. So then we have our Irish Channel Stout comes every once in a while. That's not the biggest summer beer, but it's a really nice, dry, roasty stout. We're in the Irish Channel in New Orleans, so that's what it's named after. But it's nice dry Irish stout.
Those in Texas are tall boy cans. In Texas, those are the tall boy cans, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the stouts are in tall boys, the Hopatulus IPA is a tall boy. We're kind of phasing those out. But then our new hop series is in the tall boys as well. But
Right on.
the
Okay.
canning team likes the 12-ounce cans better.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a bit of a hassle dealing with the tall ones, right?
Yeah, they fall over.
Okay, so anyway, so we got the Irish Channel Stout, and then what else?
Our Channel Stout, the Hopatulus, that was our third beer. So that's the oldest beer that we've sent to Texas. That's kind of we call it a West Coast IPA, but it's what our brewmaster Peter could do. That was his like IPA back in the day, back when he was working at Dixie, when he got the nickname Hopzilla, and he was putting more hops in beers than people thought possible back then, which wasn't that much. But it's a really
back in the
nice,
day,
crisp West Coast IPA. It's 6.5%, so it's not one you can drink all day, but it's not nuts. And it's a nice, crisp, kind of resiny, piney IPA.
Right on. Right on.
Then we have our copyright infringement, which is our more kind of hazy, juicy style IPA. It's a little bit less bitter, a little fruitier, a little bit of oats, a little bit softer water. So that one we're doing pretty regularly. And then we also have Syncopation, which is kind of in between the Revivalists and the copyright infringement. It's an IPA, but it's a little bit lower. It's not a double. We're not making it all the time. We only got enough hops to brew it 6 times a year. But it's a bunch of cool new hops that we're really excited about. And, that was a year ago when we found those hops. So now there's so many more that we're even more excited about. It's really interesting seeing how the hop game is changing and how, we have our contracts for our basic stuff, but just we're buying up whatever we can on the spot market to do one-time
all
beers.
these weird one-off varietals of the hop, the growth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
We've always kind of limited ourselves before we had our labeler. If you're going to do a beer, it's either going to be draft only, and if we're going to can it, it needs to be a year-round beer. And having this labeler, and they're fairly new as far as canning lines go. Like they've only been around 4 or 5 years, as far as I know, as far as the labelers.
Yeah.
And we just got one about 3 years ago, and it's great. We can do whatever we want. And,
right on.
If it's taproom only, we can still can it, like this ALS beer, or we can do 40 barrels of the No Strings Attached, which I know we just sent some of this to Texas, which will be the next one you guys probably get.
Right on. Okay.
But we just we can do whatever we want and do it once, and that's it.
Put it out there. Oh, that's awesome.
Get the next new cool hops. Like we just got a whole bunch of New Zealand hops. We just got a bunch of really nice French hops that I found at the CBC. So we're going to be trying all sorts of new stuff in the next few months.
Oh, this is awesome. All right, so it's going to be fun to see what you come out with next. Well, all right, so you guys have done a lot of collaboration work over the last 8 years. I don't know what the first year looked like.
Me either.
Were y'all doing well? Okay, yeah, that was before your time too. But I know that you have done quite a few in the last 6. But do you have some favorite collaborations you've done? Because I mean, that's what this is essentially, in its own right? What are some of the favorites?
It is, but like the ones with the breweries, I think are it's a lot about getting together with like-minded people and just kind of learning too. It's a learning experience. So like our early collaborations I really liked, because I had mentioned we had the only printed cans. Or actually for our first 4 years we were draft only, so we didn't even have cans. So like doing a different beer was a big deal. We needed to have a tap handle made, or we could do these little stickers sometimes too, and that's what we did with the collabs. But it was a whole ordeal. It was you had to get a tap handle at a bar to be able to serve it.
Yeah, that's a pretty big feat for a small brewery, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so we'd have our regular 3, and then we'd get up with Stone came out. That was the first one I remember doing, was the Bringer of Destruction. And we're like, well, let's do something really crazy that you normally couldn't do. So we did a really big Imperial Black IPA that was super, super hoppy, the most hops we had ever put in a beer at the time. And something that I don't think would have sold if we had made it ourselves. and we're just like, hey, try this crazy black IPA beer from this brewery that's only been around for 3 years. And so they kind of lent their name to that and were like, hey, these guys know what they're doing. And, we were able to do that. And people went nuts for the beer.
Right on.
And Stone really benefited too, because we released the beer during Mardi Gras, and a bunch of them came out and had a great time during Mardi Gras.
Nice. So that was their excuse to just Greg Cook and all those guys came down to party, basically.
Right, yeah. We had Jason and a few other guys come out to brew the beer, but more people came out for the release than the actual brewing of the beer.
Fair enough. All right, and what are some of the other ones you've done over the past couple of years?
My New Belgium ones I really like. We've done 3 with them. So the first one we did there on their pilot system, which was really cool too, because they just kind of like, hey, what do you want to brew? And I was brand new to the breweries. Like, oh sure, let's do a blood orange saison. Like, it was the kind of theme was like wanted to bring back the Brass Monkey, the 40 with some orange juice. And but make it classy, So we did a saison with blood orange juice. But we still called it Brass Monkey, and it was a great beer. And it was just really cool to get to meet them and tour their sour facility, especially for me, someone who was really into that.
Right
and
on.
Just get to ask them questions and see how they're doing it. And they were very open, as most brewers are. So just going out and brewing a fun little beer there and learning with them. Then they came out here, and we did one with muscadine grapes, which is a local grape. So we did a nice big batch of swamp grape escape, we called it here. And then we flew back out there and did a chicory coffee stout on their big system, which was really nice to be able to get some of that actually back here at the brewery.
Right on. Okay, so you got some of that too to serve out in
Louisiana. No. The way the laws work in Louisiana, we can't actually serve that to the customers, but we can put it on draft for the employees.
Okay, right on. At least you guys get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's key. Okay, right on.
Yes.
Right on. Oh, man. Well, and, I guess then you've done some, some charity collabs, like the ALS beer you're talking about.
So this one we were just Saturday. Right? This is a big nationwide thing, though. This is Loeffler Farms does this every year. This is the 3rd year we've done it. They do a specific hop blend. Actually, I got it right there. There's Equinaut, 4 experimental hops, Simcoe and Laurel. So they send out this pre-blended mix of hops. They give it to a bunch of different breweries for free, and you can do whatever you want with it. But when you brew the beer, then you then send them back $1 a pint for every beer that you sell. So it's taproom only.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, hold that up so we can see it. Yeah.
There you go. So you have to come here and get this, but we're basically doing it like we've been doing our same hop series. We tweaked our Imperial IPA recipe, and we just 100% use their hop blend, and it is just drinking great right now. And
that is awesome.
So that it's great to have a relationship with them. The hop growers are key to the future of this industry, so it's great to be close with them, and we've always been, very philanthropic. We are very about community here. We did want to try to do something with that with Steve Gleason, who's very famous in New Orleans for dealing with ALS, and he has this great No White Flags charity.
Okay.
But he's from Seattle originally, and he already partnered with the brewery in Seattle, so we couldn't actually partner with him.
But he's down there. He's down there in New Orleans now.
Yeah, he's always around, and you'll see him at all sorts of events. He'll introduce people, and he was just recently at Tulane graduation. I saw him introduce Neil deGrasse Tyson. He does all sorts of stuff. He's around.
Okay, fair enough.
That was pretty funny though too, because I was up in the nosebleed seats, and everyone was chanting Steve, and the people next to me definitely thought it was Stephen Hawking. But
come on. Okay, all right.
The guy in a wheelchair with a robotic voice named Steve. They didn't know any better.
I didn't see any news reports before now. Like, oh my goodness.
No. This is a few years ago.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they knew who it was once he started talking. But as he was coming out on stage.
That'd be a pretty big mind blowing, right? Well, and if you say Neil deGrasse Tyson is who he's
Yeah,
introducing.
he was the headliner.
Okay, so. So I can see that. That's a pretty big pairing right there. But anyway, yeah.
But no, Steve Gleason, and he's really inspirational, and he's had the disease for quite a while. He's in the wheelchair. He can't speak, but he still has the computer that he does with his eyes, and it's really, really impressive to see him fight through it, and his family is still with him. And so we've done a few big events for them. I know the event we're doing next weekend is on top of the ALS. It's with the same beer, but it's for another ALS foundation that's local here.
Right on.
And it's getting people who have ALS to get their voice recorded so that when they do have to use the computer, they can actually use their real voice.
Wow, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That is really cool, man. And that's next weekend?
You can tell that one got me a little. I do like that idea really does hit me.
Golly. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Just how powerful your own voice is.
Yeah. To think, I mean, here we are, we're talking to all these folks as well that, that's a part of your identity. How fantastic that is. I mean,
with the technology we have now, it's not actually that difficult to do. You just need the time and a little bit of money, and that's what we're providing the money, and they got the time.
Right on. Well, and then the Revivalists, you paired up with these guys too.
Yeah, so they're a great band. They're good friends of ours. With this beer, we originally did with Rebirth Brass Band. It was the first time we tried it. And we did it 3 years with them, and it was a fundraiser for Roots of Music. It's this local charity that gets kids an after-school program, so they come there, they do their homework, they get an after-school snack, and then they learn music, and they learn how to play, they learn how to march, and then they'll march, and I think it's like 6 different Mardi Gras parades throughout the season. They'll do different marches, they'll put on concerts. So it's really just, giving these kids an after-school program, teaching them a skill, but also just continuing the legacy of New Orleans music culture.
Right on.
Because, these are going to be the next people that we're going to, these will be the next legends, some of them.
Dude, I love that idea. Absolutely love that idea. Yeah, well, thank you for doing all of this. Oh, whoa. Some of the folks that bring your beer into this state just wandered in.
All right.
We're about to get in trouble. Oh, and that, guys, to all of y'all out there in radio, visual, internet land, if you want to come down, I'm going to be handing out free samples here in a little bit of the Revivalists of this pale ale. So if you want to come down and try some, I'm going to give you free samples at the Denton Welcome Center. Then I'm going to go back and drink more of this. And for every can that you buy at the Bearded Monk, we're going to donate another $1 to the Roots of Music Foundation that Derek was just talking about. And
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, that is an awesome cause. That's an absolutely awesome cause. Well, I mean, you're in the brewery. Are you up for walking us around a little bit?
For sure. I did want to say real quick, though, this will be 3 years with Rebirth, and then that contract ran out. We switched the recipe, we updated it, and now we have another 3-year contract with the Revivalists. So we'll probably do that for 3 years and then switch it up again so we can keep updating the beer for the times, keep it alive,
right on,
keep benefiting the Roots of Music. Because just the way the music industry works, you're never going to get a full contract forever from a band, things happen. So that's a way for us to keep the beer alive and update it and keep the charity going.
Right on, man. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And to have all these buddies you can call on to work with you on this is really cool.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's the best part about being in the beer industry here is this music and beer go hand in hand. So we're very tight with a lot of musicians and people like that. So it's one of our passions here.
That is so cool. So very cool. All right. Well, are you up for giving us a little behind the scenes tour?
Let's go walk around.
Sweet. All right, guys. Let's see what Derek's got to show us.
All right. It's gonna be a little ugly getting out there.
Hey, no, just keep it on the glass. That's really nice.
All right. Got through the doors.
Oh, right on. All right, where are we going?
Right. Where are we at? Turn around. So this is the brewery here. There we are. So coming back in, we got some of our barrel-aged beers.
Nice.
We have our initial walk-in where we did our first big mural.
Oh, right on, man. And especially in Denton, that's something we can appreciate. Dude, that is cool.
And so that was kind of, we got our philosophy there, which is beer first, then team, then community, then profit. That was kind of the idea behind that. So community has always been a huge part of the brewery. Turn around here, we got the mill room in here. This is where it all starts. It's not too exciting, but I'll show you it because I really like this Sasquatch mill. But there we go. So that was the best purchase I think we ever had at the brewery. Here's our brew house. We got this used from Left Hand Brewing Company out of Colorado. Most of you guys are familiar with them.
Right on. Yeah, we've had them.
They had this for 15 years. We've now had it for 10 years. So the original mill that came with the system is pretty beat up. We no longer have a late shift because of that new mill. So that is one of the best purchases we ever made.
Right on, right on. But the old brew house is still going strong, huh?
Yeah, it is. And we're speaking of collabs, so it's an old Left Hand system. We Left Hand came out here and we actually brewed a batch with Eric and them on their old system, and they had a blast coming out here and playing with the old stuff and seeing what we've done to it. And they were surprised that some things still worked. Very surprised that we kept a few things, but they work. So just keep it running.
Dude, that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
I was thinking today, though, that's our cold liquor tank back there, and the water was not as cold as it should have been today. Like, that was built to work in Colorado, not in 100-degree New Orleans.
At below sea level, 100-degree New Orleans?
Yeah. But so I'll continue on here into the cellar. So we'll come around here. We got our first two fermenters. This is what we started with, just FB1 and 2 here, and then Bright Tank 1. So we started with just this brew house and 3 tanks and all this space, and it's grown quite a bit. So we now have 14 different fermenters on the clean side and 4 Bright Tanks. Some little Bright Tanks, I don't count those, but like 4 big guys.
Yep, that's definitely a capacity. Man, that's awesome.
This is our nice newest tour. That's our hop back there. Actually, in this tank right here, just did our second dry hop on it. It's going to be our next beer in the IPA series. It's going to be called Hopback Cadillac. So that's our first attempt at using that sucker. So that's another way for us to just cram more hops into these really juicy IPAs.
Right on. Right on.
What else we got? Here's our pilot little fermenter. And I did mention it earlier, so I'll point it out. But there's my old 3-barrel homebrew system from back in the day.
Oh, sorry. I'm seeing now, like, from the lobby, I'm getting people looking for beer. So I'm just waving my beer at folks in the lobby.
Yeah, they heard free beer.
I'm like, aha!
But yeah, so that was our main cellar alley. We had this secondary alley that we then put in with these 4 120-barrel Bright Tanks. And then most recently, we put in these 2, one 120-barrel fermenter, 120-barrel Bright Tank, and we kind of joked that we put those in for Texas because that was about the same time we expanded to you guys, and that's about how much beer you guys take from us. So.
Nice. Those are the Texas tanks. Man, yep. I'm willing to send you like a big old Texas sticker just for those.
Oh, for sure. We throw that on
there. Man, you've got a lot of capacity, but you also, you still have a lot of room.
We do. So the biggest thing, we started out as just this one warehouse, and we've expanded on since then. We do have one more warehouse over here. I don't really have service over there, so I'm not going to go, but you can look in.
Wow.
It's basically for storage.
That's just
so
for pallets and kegs.
As well, and then we got our Mardi Gras Dragons up. We got those.
Nice.
Mardi Gras Dragons up there. Some cans. But when we first started canning, here's our old Wild Goose line. We had to get pre-printed cans. There was no labeling, like I mentioned. the minimum order for a pre-printed can is 1 truckload. So that's anywhere from like 300,000 to 500,000 cans, depending on the size of the can.
Oh my god!
So you had to be very sure you wanted to make that beer.
Yeah, you've got to be dedicated to
year
it.
round. But when we just had this one warehouse, even with just the 3 tanks, and I think we might have had 4 tanks at that time, and a canning line, and a few other things, we got our blonde and brown cans in at the same time, and trying to figure out where to fit 750,000 cans in this area. Like, you had to move cans before you did anything.
Just to get into something?
Yeah, and that was when we had 2 beers. So now that we have this secondary warehouse over here, that's dry storage for our cans. We have a huge walk-in over there as well for our finished product. Our old tap room, which is mostly for private parties. But we now have, I think we have 6 pre-printed year-round cans, so we have plenty of storage for that. And then we have a bunch of these blank bright cans that we did today. We actually just canned some Revivalists today.
Oh, nice.
So,
and then you can just wrap them as you need, huh?
Yeah, and so that's a new addition to our canning line. So we were very early in the craft beer canning movement.
Right
so
on.
when we started, we got this from Wild Goose. It was the 5th system that they had put into any brewery. And I think last time I was at their factory was like a year and a half ago, and they were putting out 15 systems that month. So like the demand for craft canned beer has really, really grown with these small systems. And especially because consumers started to realize that cans protect beer much better than bottles do. Most likely you're going to end up with a better beer in a can than you will a bottle.
Yep.
And, yes, objectively a bottle may look better, may feel better on your lips, but, I'd rather have a better beer than a prettier beer.
Can's got to take care of that beer so much better. So much better.
Yeah, and it's been great because people start to realize that, and like I said, the demand has grown, and, we put a few upgrades onto this thing, but it's still running great 7 years later.
Right on. Golly.
So we're real happy with it.
Y'all have a heck of a setup, man. You guys are huge. Look at this.
That's it. Back where we started.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, what else? What else is going on in your life? How should we? Hey, okay, I got one. How many brewers can say they got sued by Godzilla?
I hope there's one. you don't even wish that on your worst enemy.
Well, I guess it's better case than him like destroying your house. Oh, you want to go into that at all?
Yeah, I can. It's been long. I think statute of limitations is over. So we made a beer called Mecha Hopzilla. Our brewmaster, Peter Cadu, is a brewing legend as far as I'm concerned. He was the head brewer at Dixie when it finished. He was there for probably 30 years. He would brew every day at Dixie, and then he'd go home, and he was one of the most prolific homebrewers I knew when I was first homebrewing in New Orleans, and he taught me a lot as a homebrewer. But every time I gave him a beer, the only thing he ever said to me is, "That's pretty good. Could use more hops." Sorry. And so that he had gotten this nickname Hopzilla because he was making these IPAs that were just unheard of at the time. Hopatoulis was one of them, and it's a basic standard West Coast IPA, but in Louisiana, that was just mind-blowing.
Out there.
Yeah, what is this? And so, he got this nickname Hopzilla, and we named the beer after him, kind of to honor him, and Godzilla got word of it, and they weren't too happy about it, and so we got sued by Toho Corporation out of Tokyo. So it was a straight to federal court lawsuit. It was very serious. They came in, they took all of our computers, went through all our email, made us take down all our Godzilla toys that we had posted around, that people had built these beautiful plastic things with all these ornate decorations on them, where this Godzilla would huck styrofoam balls that someone painted to look like hops that they gave to Peter. We had to take all that down, and then during the lawsuit, and then we finally settled with them. because the choice was, hey, it's like 50-50. You might win. You probably didn't copy Godzilla making this thing.
Yeah.
But they think your tap handle looks a lot like a toy, and they have the right to toys that look like Godzilla. So, you could lose. If you win, you get to keep making the beer. Nothing happens. If you lose, you have to pay their legal fees and our legal fees and the court fees, and your brewery goes out of business.
Oh, gosh.
So we decided to settle. And with that settling, they had the rights to our next name, our can. So they said the lizard couldn't be green; it had to be red, which makes no sense because Mechagodzilla is silver, and Godzilla is not even definitely not neon green. Anyway, so they wanted a red lizard, and it was called Mecha. And so it no longer kind of meant anything to us, but that's what we had to do because of the lawsuit. And then once we kind of got through our 500,000 cans of that, actually we ordered a couple batches, but we went through a few years of that and kind of just decided that it doesn't really mean that much to us as a beer. The times have changed. We'd like to update it. And so we decided to come up with a new recipe, but we wanted to name it in honor of that. And so we came up with the name Copyright Infringement, for all the poor suckers out there.
For everyone that can identify, yes.
Yeah, because it is a big issue in the industry. There's 5,000 plus breweries putting out hundreds of beers a year. It's so easy to name the beer the same thing as another brewery. So that's one thing we always are worried about. We were never worried about other entities coming in because, usually copyright has to do with the product. So I know maybe if it's a wine, we wouldn't name it after a wine or, a spirit unless we're aging in that barrel or something. But we were never really worried about, imaginary creatures coming out of the depths to us.
Of all the stuff you could have been worried about, you got to worry about Godzilla coming out.
It wasn't on my radar, no.
All right, that is definitely a unique one you've got to deal with. Yeah. Oh man,
people still bring it up all the time. Like recently, we brewed a beer. We named it after inspiration of the Talking Heads because David Byrne was in town for Jazz Fest. So we had some guys from Highwire come in town, did a collaboration with them. One of the guys, Ben used to work with us, so we have a really good relationship with them. And we made a beer called Flippy Floppy after the Making Flippy Floppy Talking Head song. But you saw people online like, oh, you're trying to get sued again? I don't think David Byrne would sue us, but it's already done. So we've already ceased and desisted. It's all gone.
Even if something's wrong, it's okay.
It's all gone.
All right. Well,
but it was great because we brewed the beer that day, and then we had a Talking Heads cover band play that night, and then that was Friday, and then Saturday or Sunday, David Byrne played on Sunday, so it was a great weekend.
Nice. Oh yeah, so you're fine there. You've got less to worry from them.
Yeah.
Man, Derek, this has been so much fun, dude. This has been absolutely fun. And
I enjoyed it.
Well, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to hang out and talk with us and walk through the brewery and send your beer to Texas. And yeah,
for sure. No, and we're really happy to have our beer there. We've been in some states where it hasn't been received as well. Just like I don't want to talk bad about Mississippi and Alabama, but sometimes I do. But the people in Texas really, there's a very good hop scene there. The funk beers, which we didn't even really get into any of our wild and barrel aged beers, have been really well received there. But it's been really nice for us because that allows us to brew more of that, the stuff that we like. Because blonde still is our biggest seller. It's a great beer. It's just not that exciting, So I'd rather brew more of other stuff. And, the more brew house capacity we can put to the stuff that really inspires me and keeps me interested, I'd rather do that. As we got to keep the tanks full. Blonde does that, and I'm happy to make that for people. But the more cool stuff we can make, the happier I am.
Let's get more of the crazy out in the world. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, again, Derek, thank you, man, and thanks to everybody else that joined us for this episode of Free Beer Friday. I guess I'm gonna hang out and serve some beer, and then I'm gonna go back to the Monk and drink some more Revivalist. And it's Shotgun Friday. Do y'all do Shotgun Friday, Derek?
We don't. We used to. We had some. Definitely fall into a garbage can.
All right. So far, nobody's fallen into a garbage can with us. It has been all good.
I don't ever recommend shotgunning anything that has Zilla in the tree space.
All right, fair enough. That gets really bad. Well, I am probably going to shotgun some of these tonight back to the mug. So I will do it in honor of y'all.
All right. Well, you all enjoy yourself. Tell Martina I said hi.
Will do. And we'll talk to you later. Have a great one. And everybody in Radioland, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you guys next week. And have a great weekend from everybody here at Free Beer Friday. Great.
Cheers.
Bye. Hey, guys. Ben Easley from the Bearded Monk, here to talk about Free Beer Friday, our show here on Denton Radio. If you want to learn everything about craft beer in Denton, Texas, the world, download Free Beer Friday everywhere you find podcasts.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.